this morning. Sanjeev laid out a few little things about my being here and about the idea of a testimony. It's often easy for people to say, I've spent 4 months doing one particular thing, and that one particular thing has affected me. It's had some impact on me. You do it all the time, you know. You start walking a mile by themselves in all their lives to go back. So if you come back from the point of service, most people understand my life or see my life in the work that I've done as an actor. But I began my career after university in the Office of Community Development, the Model Cities programs. I can talk about those things to people in certain points in time in history, and they understand those things that happened at a very extraordinary moment, I think, in this country's history, post-civil rights movement. And you saw men and women nurtured by what had happened in the past and tried to attempt to say, how do I begin to control the things that affect my life? How to begin to build new relationships within the community? So the key component in that is relationships, in a sense. And I had the time to talk about, watch people, and as a very young man, to be able to be a part of that process, in a sense. And what are the things that I derived from that experience? One of the things, and the first of all, is I had extraordinary capacity as human beings to try to figure things out, and to kind of, through our passion and through our commitment, to try to find other ways in which we reimagine the possibilities we have within ourselves and our relationship with people. First thing up, the better that. Acting became a source of direction that I came because it provided me a little platform in which I could begin to talk about that and to think about that. And acting is simply that. When you talk about the basic root of acting and art itself, art is essentially what is art. It's elevating who we are as human beings. That's what art represents, in a sense. Those are the kind of things that fit into my kind of thinking. The idea that I believe that I'm still a community developer, in that sense. So where do we begin to find ways in which we announce or begin to embellish on those things, to begin to share those particular ideas with people in every way? Whether it's some of the positions that I take on very critical issues that are happening in this country and the world. That's been the case with me before. My name was in front of a camera. My name was in front of on a poster that you see. Those things have always been a part of that. So the question is, where do I begin to talk about where we can do this? I believe that the source of any part of our development is the way we build new relationships in which we enhance each other. And when we enhance each other, whether we're enhancing each other on the level of assisting each other, helping each other build, and the underlying build networks, of generosity, using the spirit of generosity, I think we're at our best as human beings. And I'm going to say this before I talk about the product itself, that multi-level marketing was something very interesting and fascinating to me. It starts from the standpoint that people have a common goal, they build new relationships, it's a course in human development, they build new relationships, they celebrate each other's achievements, and they begin to talk about how do we begin to improve our lives. Now, there's many things you can do in terms of multi-level marketing. You can sell insurance and be successful at that. You can sell legal aid and be successful at that. You do all those particular things to be successful in that, you know. So the key is that what horse are you going to ride as you deal with multi-level marketing? If you believe in it, if you believe it is all the things that I talked about and all the things that have brought me to this particular moment in my own ideas and thinking about that. I think that people are desperate. All people are. We see And Robert Reich in 2008, February 2008, op-ed in the New York Times said that this is what is happening to people over the last 35 years. Now we're talking about close to 40 years. What is happening is, one, incomes remain stagnant for the average American worker. Two, women have come to the workforce from 35% to 70%, not particularly because there were real opportunities for women, they just had to supplement the family income. Three, the average American worker works 250 more hours than the average European worker. Now, that may change now because of what's happening in Europe, places like Greece, places like Germany, and other places in Europe, where they're experiencing that we see around with us. And the fourth thing is they've leveraged their homes, expanded and been dangerous in terms of their credit liabilities and all those particular things just to make ends meet. Just to try to figure out how we're going to pay the health bill, how we're going to pay, how we're going to get food on the table, how we're going to do those little things that are necessary just to live. So those are three components that Robert Reich, who was the head of the Department of Labor under the Clinton administration, talked about. So if that's the case, then certainly we have to begin to devise different ways in which we develop the additional income. And how about doing that with something that is benefiting us in another way, in terms of our health? How about taking that modus operandi? How about taking that and using that and finding something that benefits us both in terms of our feeling that we're confident that we can take care of ourselves. Secondly, it improves our health, improves our sense of our being with each other, improves all those things that are important for us. And we can talk about that. And we do that. In this course of this journey, and I said the journey, and it is a journey. Sanjay talked about everybody, the whole idea of expecting that medicine can fix this right now, as opposed to understanding the journey, where we've been and where we're going, where we are and where we need to go. We know where we've been in terms of our health. There's enough information that comes out about GMOs, depletion of soil, the lack of nutritional value in our food. There's tons of information. Even McDonald's and all the fast food stores are trying to sell some sort of happy, healthy meal or something like that. So we know. The question for us now is, how do we begin to take on this journey? So at the same time that we're talking about rebuilding our bodies, rebuilding our health, what about the idea that we're taking this using this as a platform to kind of rebuild the relationships about how we help each other financially, how we build different kind of relationships with that across the board, how we can celebrate each other's success, not only in terms of our health, and really, but also in terms of our financial well-being as well. To take care of those things that are necessary, that we need to talk about. And that's what brought me to this. I've been looking for some sort of engine. I've been looking for some sort of place to do that. I first heard Dear Doctors Don't Lie more than 15 years ago. And when it was on cassette. I'm not talking about a CD, I'm talking about a cassette. I said, I had a friend of mine who introduced me to it, go down to his basement and read, and he's on all the 90 minerals and everything. He said he went down to his basement to go get his old. I didn't just listen to one and put it in my drawer. I kept listening to it. The old thing about trace minerals. I tried to go to the vitamin store and trying them off the store and looking for them here and looking for them there, going to this, finding. I had a whole mechanism for the last 12, 13 years of doing that. And basically, I wasn't getting everything I needed. And I wasn't so sure that the things that I was getting, that I was buying, were sufficient in providing what I needed. So all of this time brought me to this particular moment So the moment 4 months ago, I was introduced to this, to longevity. 4 months ago, Joanne Conoway came down from New York to provide me some stuff. I said, I want it right now. I want to start right now, before I order it. She came down from New York. Came down from upstate New York, met me in New York City, and I began taking taking everything twice a day from April 10th to now. Now that's more than about 250 times. You do about 120 days, 125 days, 130 days. That's more than 250 times. And I know the difference, and I can tell the difference. You know, I just stopped taking all the other things that I was taking. All the other things I'm saying, and as we begin to talk about what are the impacts, what was happening to me, what did I feel, all those particular things, I kept modifying. You know, we took selenium, we added that to it. We added that remarkable immortality to it. We added all those particular things to it. We kept building and building and building, which is the journey. You know, so we're here and we're talking. We come to Columbus, David Tyler. We come to Columbus, Ted. We come to Columbus and been around and begin to go on our crusade. You can't call it anything but a crusade. To not only help people with their health, but also try to find a build to build. And that's what I'm about here about. Now I'm going to leave here in about 4 hours and go to work tomorrow morning on a movie that I'm doing in Utah. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically that's the work that I do. But my work with this is serious. My work with this and gaining and talking and gaining the confidence of people, that I'm not just some sort of face that they put out there and they decide to throw out here and send it here and here, that I'm committed to that is what's important. Because that's the commitment that we need from everybody who's going to be involved in this. We need to do your commitment to take the product, to use the product, to build your own testimony, to build your own narrative. We need you to begin to tell that to others and to talk to others and bring other people in. And that's what this is about. It's simply that. I got on a red eye to go to Columbus. We got there and worked the moment that I got on the ground, radio stations, everything else. We had our event. We drove from Atlanta to Columbus. My business partner, my extraordinary business partner, Rochelle Salisbury, landed to Columbus, then drove back here to be a part of the event last night and to be with you before I jump on the plane. And I think we accomplished something. You here, you're a testimony to that. So I want to thank you so much for that. And it only gets better. It only gets better, you know. And the beautiful thing about that, my wife, she starts taking everything. She sees me taking it. She said, I don't want to get ahead. I don't want to dare to get ahead up on me. You know what I'm saying? But thank you so much and everything for being here. All right, then. All right.
Thank you.